Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Fritzen, and I'm the Dean of the David L. Boren College of International Studies, a role I've been in since last July. Today, I'd like to share a few thoughts on the strategic planning process that is underway at the College of International Studies and how you might be involved in that. To do that, let me share my screen for a few minutes and go into the why, the who, and the how of strategic planning at the college. The key points I'd like to make is that first, the strategic plan, which is going to be finalized in the fall, will be a framework for global engagement for the entire university. And that reflects our mandate to really shine a spotlight onto all things related to international and global engagement, wherever it happens in the university, particularly in areas like study abroad, international student services, and international and area studies programming. This strategic plan will be informed and enriched by the broad consultations which we are planning, both internally within the college and across the university, and indeed with our friends in the community in the coming 2 months. The other key message I'd like you to take away from this presentation is that we strongly encourage you to fill out the survey, which you will find at the website shown here, to sign up for updates and to participate in online consultations, the schedule for which will be posted on this website. And stay in touch with the process as it unfolds, because it is undoubtedly going to be an interesting one. Why do strategic planning? Well, for one thing, it's a requirement. This is a season of planning at OU, as the university adopted its so-called lead-on plan last year. And all of the colleges of the university are now formulating their own approach to strategic planning to align and contribute with that plan. But beyond the requirement, it's also true, as Yogi Berra once said in a quote that I often like to repeat, that if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you someplace else. We need strategic planning to provide clarity of purpose in our college life, because organizational mission can often be quite cloudy. The mandates that accumulate over time for organizations like the College of International Studies can be vague, multiple, conflicting, or patchy. And as a result, we need to interpret what we think is most important and how we're taking the deep responsibility that we have to promote global engagement and operationalizing that into specific programming priorities. And we do this so that we don't lose a shared sense of purpose over time, so that we don't fall into status quo mode, and that we can be ready when changes hit our environment, as they certainly have over the last year, and we can proactively respond in a mission-centered way to those environmental changes. One way of doing this is called a so-called theory of change, whereby you look at the resources and mandates that have been invested in a college. You think about specific products and outputs that you can transform those resources into, before you reach the most fundamental question, which is, what kind of impacts are you trying to have with the products and services that you are putting out to the community? So we've been through some thinking about this in the college in the past few months, and taking stock of a turbulent environment in January, for instance, we were collectively brainstorming, who are we, what do we do, and why, along the lines of the kind of theory of change model that I just showed you. And so we concluded within the college that our programming has been deeply disrupted in multiple ways by the pandemic that we're going through, as well as by the growing social and political polarization in our environment. And in a context in which OU has been through many changes in the past few years, and is just starting to get its mojo back, as this strategic planning season attests. Through the pandemic, our people have become exhausted. Some of our resources have been tapped out, but our mission has never been more critical, even though its delivery and visibility can be under threat at times. We've responded over the past several months with a slew of initiatives to protect our people, to cultivate and expand partnerships, and to rethink and retool our programming. We call this a framework for strategic thinking, action, and learning, which is everybody's job at the college. And all of these inputs that we've been through will help us as we now try to put pen to paper and create a meaningful multi-year strategic plan, which can guide our efforts as we emerge from this crisis that we've been through over the past few years. To give you an example of other exercises that have helped us to draw on insights from the community and which we will carry forward as we go further. In a recent community meeting, we brainstormed strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within the college community. And this is just one example of the results that a particular breakout room came back with. But we hope to multiply these kinds of opportunities to draw on community feedback and really make it as systematic as possible so that we can draw on the wisdom of our collective community. The overall objective in strategic planning, from my perspective, is to take stock of the changing environment, recognize our own internal strengths and weaknesses, confront those head on, in asking the question, how can we improve our performance across multiple areas in order to serve our mission and stakeholders better and more creatively? So we're trying to take the state of our game from one level to another and mapping out what that might mean. What kind of initiatives can drive a higher level of performance over time? So who and how will this planning take place? Well, we're not starting from a void. We have initial building blocks in the form of inputs to strategic planning from previous rounds, from some units last year, for example. Annual plan objectives that were formulated in the fall as we confronted a complex scenario with the unfolding pandemic. And within the Department of International and Area Studies, there are well-developed inputs that are being formulated that we can respond to at this point as a coherent draft. So we'll use these building blocks at different stages of development to then come to you as a community, as a set of stakeholders for the college, to survey you with a range of open-ended questions that will reach you in April and May. And we strongly encourage you to take a few minutes to share your thoughts. This is exactly the right time to gather your inputs in a meaningful way, which we will use systematically. We will review every single comment that comes in, looking to incorporate the insights that the community brings to this process. So that will happen throughout April and May. We hope that with these inputs in hand, we can formulate a first full draft for the further consideration by the community throughout the summer, and that we have this first full draft reaching you and available for kind of full review by July 1st. We would then hope to carry that on and finalize it based on the specific feedback that comes in from the full draft by the fall of 2021. A college-wide strategic planning steering committee has been formed. It's just off the ground this week. And its purpose will be to solicit, collect, and analyze feedback from all the internal and external stakeholders of the college, as well as to provide overall guidance on draft development. And so this committee will be meeting several times in the next couple of months to help us get to that first full draft. The committee is comprised of associate deans, directors, the International and Area Studies chair, IAS faculty who have volunteered, as well as several staff volunteers, and several students, both from the department and international students who represent the broad array of experiences international students are going through throughout the university. So in this way, we think it has broad functional membership. It comprises about 25 individuals altogether. So then this committee will go out and divide up the labor of soliciting and organizing feedback sessions, some of them open attendance and some of them targeted to specific stakeholder groups. And of course, we strongly encourage the survey so that all individual insights and comments will be welcomed and incorporated into our effort. These are some of the targeted stakeholder outreach consultations that we hope to get scheduled in the coming days. So there are others in development. This is not the final word, but we're really casting the net wide so that we can get a broad sense of the feedback of the community. In conclusion, and with the idea to begin with the purpose or end in mind as we start this process, we sincerely hope that everyone, all of the college's stakeholders, will be able to relate to and find their place within the set of objectives that we end up formulating and laying out to guide our initiatives through this strategic plan by the fall. We hope to write it up and disseminate it in multiple forms so that it is accessible and easily understood, easily communicated to the broad range of stakeholders that we do have. And I would like to give you my personal commitment as Dean to make this document a fully live and functional framework for the college. This is not a box-ticking exercise. We fully intend to take this framework and use it to be a broadly sourced platform, guiding our efforts, tracking our progress, and serving ultimately as a compass that helps us move in a direction that creates real value for the university. It will not stay shelved. It will be operational, and it will be an inspiration to us as we move forward and track our progress over time. So with that, I look forward to your inputs, and I invite you to contact me directly at this email address, sfritzen@ou.edu, because I truly would like all of the college stakeholders to raise their voices, to provide inputs on this process, and help us formulate a plan that sets a direction that creates maximal value for the community and for the university. Thank you very much, and I look forward to engaging with you on this important project. Take care.